Heard the call to build your small business? Make it happen with a .net domain name, the place for dreamers for 30 years and counting. Visit keepdreamingup.net for tips and advice, whether you're just getting started or looking to grow. That's keepdreamingup.net.
Hey, this is Manny Moonraker, and the plot thickens. Cue the music. What's up and welcome to UFO Report number 47. And I've got one story for you today, and it's a throwback story, but it's fascinating nonetheless. And then I have an update about the Czech Republic young ladies that contacted me, Ilona and Ivana. And I did play that clip from their YouTube video, which was kind of like in broken English, the way that they sent the message on Facebook. However, the plot does thicken because apparently these two young ladies are very involved in a lot of UFO craziness in the Czech Republic. But first, let's talk about the story. This story is out of the Hillsdale Collegian, and it is part of a school out in Michigan, Hillsdale College. And they have a story that they reported recently regarding a 1966 UFO sighting in ARB. So it's funny because it's kind of like this individual who is in the school now, this year as a sophomore, decided to write about this in this newspaper. The incident occurred back on March 21st of 1966, and apparently several women that were living in McIntyre, which is a residence at the school, noticed that there were bright lights flying over the Slayton Arboretum. This occurred around 10:30 at night. In their account, which was written 3 days after the incident, one of the students by the name of Gidget Kohn described the event as a UFO encounter. And there's a quote from Gidget, and I don't think anybody names their kid Gidget anymore, but I guess in the 60s Gidget was still cool. So the quote from Gidget was that she ran to the window, and there it was, radiating intense silver white light and heading directly for the dorm. She also wrote that a brief flash of lightning illuminated for just a second, and in that second, she saw what appeared to be a squashed football or basketball. Apparently, the women at the McIntyre facility were not the only ones who reported this UFO that night. As a matter of fact, there were two police officers nearby, Harold Hess and his partner, Jerry Wise. At one point during that night, the two officers noticed the blinding light that was hovering over the college. They were in a patrol car, so they drove over to the campus to investigate what this light was that was hovering over the campus. And what they discovered was that same shiny disc-shaped object that Gidget had just described in her report. The sighting scared Hess so much, and he was so concerned over what he was seeing that he actually took out his weapon. But his partner advised him, rightly so, to put that back in. There was just no need for that. Hess later reported that that bright light that Gidget had reported had actually split into two separate objects and flew in different directions. When that split occurred, the equipment in the patrol car was damaged. When they turned their radio on, it actually failed and all they can get was static at the time. Hess later said that it was one of those things that you experience in your life that actually stands the hair on the back of your neck up just thinking about it. A total of 87 people reported the incident in Hillsdale that same night. Now, Hillsdale was not the only little town that received a sighting of these objects that fateful night in 1966. In addition to Hillsdale, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Dexter, and Battle Creek, Michigan also reported similar sightings that very evening. And for those of you who are history buffs and love the one and only J. Allen Hynek, Mr. Hynek, in reviewing the report that came out of Hillsdale way back when, apparently after interviewing the college women and some of the other citizens at Hillsdale, Hynek said that the incident was caused by swamp gas. And as you guys know, that back in the day, swamp gas was the go-to for situations such as UFOs that could not be explained by natural occurrences or man-made objects, should I say. If it couldn't be explained by a man-made object, then the natural phenomena of swamp gas was to blame. And the plot on this one thickens as well, because apparently the swamp gas explanation piqued the interest of the Michigan congressman. The congressman happened to have been Gerald Ford. And after he received several letters from the residents who claimed that they had seen UFOs, Ford decided to look into the matter himself and also came to the conclusion that the federal government needed to look into what was happening in Michigan at the time, because after reviewing all the reports, it appears that he felt that this was not just swamp gas. The article has a quote from Gerald Ford, and it says, "These are incidents which many reliable good citizens felt were sufficient to justify some action by our government, and not the kind of flippant answer that was given by the Air Force when they passed it off as swamp gas. Hashtag Gerald Ford just slapped you." So there you go. That's the story. I've got the link to the rest of the story if you want to read it. The good thing about this one is that they actually included a picture of the actual UFO from 1966. It's in the article. Check it out. It's fascinating. It's pretty cool. And you get to read the rest of the situation with Gerald Ford and I believe Project Blue Book is what this particular sighting fell under. But you don't gotta take my word for it. Check it out.
Excuse me. I'm looking for Manny Moonraker. I understand you're looking for either a flying disc, cigar-class shit. Now, are you looking new or used? I have both. I also have the long cigar or stogie shaved, with and without air conditioning. In the sleep chambers, sleep 6 to 18, depending on the body size of your friends. I also have a medical disc and a starship, depending on your credit range. Call me, Sepsis Work, on your interstellar stellar, 111-491-771-2119-62387. I'll be waiting.
By the way, if you want to follow the podcast and help us out, the best way you can do it is to like, follow, share, make some comments, interact. You can find myself, Manny Moonraker, on UFOBusterRadio.com, Twitter at UFOBusterRadio, Instagram at Manny Moonraker, Facebook pages Manny Moonraker and UFO Buster Radio, and lastly, UBR Truth Seekers is a group on Facebook. You can join us there and get involved in the daily conversations that we have about UFOs, the people you love to hate in ufology, and the stories that matter. And again, you'll see it firsthand. This podcast is about taking ufology on the lighter sense of things. We don't get all worked up or try to say that the government's gonna probe everyone, which they may be doing, but I don't know. but it's a serious look at the subject as we try to weed out the no-goodniks. So the next thing I have for you is an update. So on the last UFO report, I read the message that I received from Ilona about herself and Ivana and their communication with a EBE by the name of Ollie that was giving them all this information. Of course, I read the message. It was heavily busted up, broken English. And when I found their YouTube channel, they had a computerized voice reading things using the English language, and that was pretty busted up too. It turns out that the next day I had some more messages and some dialogues with Ivana, and she shared a lot of things with me, including articles that were written about them and their encounters, pictures of an incident that she had where herself and her sister are being targeted in the Czech Republic over their, I guess, activities or disclosure of their contact with this alleged EBE named Ollie. So there's a lot of information she shared, and I'm going to post that tomorrow within the UBR Truth Seekers Facebook group page. I'm going to put some of that stuff in there, even the pictures that she took when apparently her car was detonated, it looks like, or set on fire. But I'll have that in there. It's an interesting story, and the more I learn, the more fascinated I am by it. Now, she does not speak English. Plain and simply, there's just no way around that, folks. We're not going to be able to interview Ivana or Ilona themselves, even though she is sending me emails right now as we speak. We're emailing back and forth. I'm thinking it's a Google Translate situation, so she's translating what she's writing. But we do have someone that helped her write a book. The two young ladies wrote a book about their experience, and there's someone that is proficient in the English language that helped them write a book, and they have a second book coming out here shortly. But they have agreed to come on and tell us their story regarding how they contact this EBE, how that process works, when did it start, what's happening right now, especially, hopefully, information about how their lives are being threatened because of what they're sharing with the general public. So as soon as I get that interview settled and on the books, we're going to have this individual on. And I'm not going to lie, I am at this point really fascinated by the story from all the things I've seen so far. And I know you guys are going to like it. So stay tuned, because it might just even happen this coming Sunday. As always, I thank you for listening. You guys are awesome. Peace out.
Progressive presents Mindfulness with Flow.
You are a mighty fortress of supreme knowledge. Progressive Direct has not only revealed their rates, but those of their competitors. If you were any more in the know, you would be drowning in, the know.
Compare Progressive Direct rates with competitors' rates, because knowledge is power. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.